All right, so today we're learning our lesson on distributive property. Okay, so distributive property is necessary when you have terms inside the parentheses that cannot be added or subtracted together. All right, so here's where sometimes my students have kind of like a mental conflict, okay? That you cannot add or subtract unlike terms, okay? You cannot do 2x plus 5. You can't combine them together by adding, but you can multiply unlike terms together, okay? So the multiplication rules are different from the addition rules, just like we've been talking about all year, all right? So distributive property is necessary here because if I'm trying to follow PEMDAS and simplify what's in parentheses, I cannot do it, okay? So when that happens, I need to distribute the number on the outside of the parentheses by every term inside the parentheses, meaning multiply. So when I multiply numbers and terms with a variable also, I will multiply their coefficients. What does that mean? Multiply the numbers. So what's 5 times 2? 10. And then I bring down the variable. So 10x. All right? Now I'm going to distribute the 5s. 5 times positive 5. 25. Does everybody understand why I put a plus sign in front of 25? Because when I multiplied 5 times 5, that is positive 25. Every term has to have a sign. The sign has to be in front of that number, okay? So you need operations. All right, now on the second one, I have a -1 that I have to distribute. So what they're trying to point out here is that you have to go by your even-odd rule for multiplying your signs, okay? So if I multiply -1 times positive 1x, all right, we're going to do a bunch of these. I want you to hold up how many fingers, okay? How many negatives are there? -1 times 1x. You should be holding up at number 1, okay? There is one negative. Is 1 even or odd? It's odd, so that's why it's going to be -1x, okay? Does everybody understand why that's negative? All right, so when you combine them, all right, look here, -1 times positive 9. What's -1 times positive 9? All right, hold up how many fingers? Okay, 1 negative. So what's my answer going to be? -9. So do you understand why there's a subtraction sign in front of the 9? Okay, so if you had told me it was supposed to be positive 9, you would have written plus 9. All right, so -1 minus 9. Now let's talk fractions, okay? So fractions, I know, are a part of a whole, right? Okay, fractions show division. I also know that a whole number can be written over 1, can it not? I can say 5 is the same thing as 5 over 1. Is that correct? Okay, so what happens when you multiply a fraction by a whole number is you are essentially multiplying the whole number by the numerator, in this case by 1. Well, what's 3 times 1? 3. And then you're dividing by the denominator. Well, what's 3 divided by 3? 1. Since I have how many negatives? 1 negative. It's going to be -1n. Okay? So you see, guys, with fractions, when I'm multiplying a fraction by a whole number, I multiply the numerators together and I divide by the denominator. Okay? All right, Hudson. Yeah, so what did you get when you did -1/3 times -6? Is it positive or negative? Just clear it up.
Positive.
It's positive. So that's why I said 2, because positive is understood. But remember, you have to put the +2 because you need an operation. Okay? So does everybody understand why that was +2? Because 1 times 6 is 6. Divided by 3 was 2. I had 2 negatives, so that's a positive. So you say, well, where do my negatives go? Well, when you multiplied a negative times a negative, 2 negatives, that turns into a positive. All right, so that's why I had plus 2. All right, so let's keep going now with our decimals. Now, it's no secret, you don't have a calculator this chapter. All right, so when we're doing decimals and fractions, you have one of two options. You can either have a mental math hack. What's a hack? Like an easier way or like a trick, right? So anybody ever learned like a hack where like for years you've been doing it the hard way and then like you see this really easy way to do something? Okay, so I saw a hack on how to fold up a cereal box, like how to seal a cereal box, and it completely changed my life about a year ago. So my life has never been the same since I saw the cereal box hack. All right, so here, I'm going to teach you a hack about multiplying any number by half. Okay, so like in this case, it's 1.5. You're going to distribute, and you will do this mental math. If you don't do it mental math, it's pointless. Okay, what is 1 times 8? 8. What is half of 8? 4. What is 8 plus 4?
Wow.
Done. Okay? All right. So anytime you multiply something by 1.5, 2.5, 3.5, what you do is you multiply it by the whole number. So let me just give you another one. What about 1.5 times 6? All right, don't say the answer. Okay, let me explain this again. What is 1 times 6? 6. What is half of 6? 3. So what is 1.5 times 6? 9. Because you would add 6 plus half of 6. 6 plus 3 is 9. Boom, done. All right, let's take it another step up. What about 2.5? All right, times 4. 2.5 times 4. All right, so it's going to be the same thing. Okay, watch. All right, don't get frustrated because as soon as you get it, sometimes you just have to hear it a couple times. Okay, multiply. All right, well, first somebody raise your hand and tell me the answer if you think you're catching on. All right, Abby, what do you think? 10. Okay, she thinks 10. So let me explain why. What is 2 times 4? 8. What is half of 4? Because 0.5 stands for half, right? What's half of 4? 2. So what's 8 plus 2?
10.
Boom. Okay? All right, let's do one more. Okay? All right. 4.5 times 6. 4.5 times 6. What do you think, Hudson? All right, he said 27. Could you have done it before you learned the hack? Okay, maybe not. Okay, not mental math at least. Or maybe you would try to add half 6 times and then it would just be confusing. All right, so easy ways to multiply any number times 1.5 or times that 0.5 part. All right, so with that being said, what would negative 1.5 times 8 be? It would be, yes, negative 12. And then bring down your m. All right, now negative 1.5 times negative 1n. All right, hold up. How many fingers? How many negatives do you have? You have 2 negatives. Okay, so it's going to be positive. That's why you have a plus sign. Plus what? 1.5n. Okay, cool. So I have 2 variables. I can add those together, right? No, why not? Okay, they're unlike terms because they're different variables. All right, good job. All right, do the last one. That one should seem easy after you just did the decimals. Negative 2x plus 6. All right, nod your heads if you got it. All right, tap your hand on your head if you got it. Okay, good.
Oh, but I did it.
You just wanted to do the motions. All right, so what do you see that's different in example 2 now? All right, still distributive property, but what do you see that's different? Tell me.
There's
Community property.
Okay, good. There's 3 terms inside the parentheses. So that should kind of alert me that maybe there's something that I can simplify inside the parentheses first before I distribute. So, well, Ms. Kinder, what if I go ahead and distribute? Well, you can, and then you're going to have to simplify it after, and it's just a little harder. Okay? So inside the parentheses, and Hudson already said our property, we can use commutative property to combine any like terms in here. All right, so Zoe, do you see any like terms inside the parentheses that you could combine? Yeah, -1 plus 7. What is it, guys? What is it? +6. So that's where I get -3 times 6 plus 2x. Okay, does everybody see where I got 6 from? Okay, don't zone me out. Don't zone me out. All right, now do your distributive property. Let's see who can get a step ahead of me. All right, see if you can get the answer. All right, -3 times 6. How many negatives? 1. So that's -18. -3 times +2x is -6x. All right, okay. Who got it? -18 minus 6x. All right, now this next one, okay, don't worry about the fraction yet. Look inside the parentheses. Is there anything that you can combine inside the parentheses, Kylie? Okay, A, be careful on your sign here. 1a minus 2a. What do you guys think?
1a.
Positive?
Positive. -1a.
-1a, because 2 is bigger and it's negative. It's like saying that you had $1 but you spent $2. Well, now you're in debt. Okay? All right, so -3/2 times -1a minus 4. Okay? All right, so we are going to distribute the -3/2. Now, I'm going to show you the long way. My guess is by the time we get to the test, you will be able to do some of this mental math. But would you agree that when I distribute, it's -3/2 times -1a minus, because 3/2 is minus, okay? So I'm just splitting this up to show you. 3/2 times -4/1. Okay, do you see how I'm just writing out what we've been doing mental math? Okay, so this is -3/2 times -1a. I'm just writing that out. That's it. The reason the minus sign is here and not a plus sign is because 3/2 is negative. Okay, and then I just brought down, but why do you think I would write -4/1 as a fraction? Well, because 3/2 is a fraction, so I can see how it lines up. All right, here's what I want you to get, guys. All right, well, let's do the first term first. Okay, anything times 1 is just that number, right? So does everybody agree that this should be 3/2a? Okay, why is it positive? Because there's 2 negatives and that's even. So now let's talk about the fraction times a whole number. I already told you guys this in the last example. You multiply your numerators, okay? So essentially up here, you could have done the same thing. What is -3 times -4? What's -3? +12, okay? Now what's 12 divided by 2?
6.
So that's why it's +6 in my answer, okay? So I showed you this step. You do not have to write this step on your homework, your quiz, your test, but mental math-wise, that's what we're doing to come up with our answer when we multiply a whole number by a fraction and distribute. All right, so -1/2 times 6n plus 4 plus 2n. Okay, -1/2 times 6n plus 4 plus 2n. So now what I see is I see some distributive property here, but the 2n is not a part of the distributive property. Okay, the 2n is just going to be brought down. Okay, So when you multiply 1/2 times any number, do you know what you're doing?
Half of it.
You're taking half. That's all you're doing. It's just dividing it by 2. Yeah, it's right up there. Okay. So what would be negative 1/2 times 6n? Someone raise your hand and tell me. Destiny. Negative 3n. Okay. What about negative 1/2, Haley, times 4? What do you think? Negative 1/2 times positive 4. Negative 2. Very good. All right. Because we only had one negative. But now I have to bring down my positive 2n. So my question to you is, are we done?
No.
Okay. Why would you say no? Isn't this is, so you're saying it's not simplified all the way. Okay. There's 2 n's. Can I use commutative property to combine those n's even though they're not right next to each other? Yes, I can. So what's negative 3 plus 2?
1.
Negative 1 n minus 2. Technically, do you need the negative 1 in front of the n? You need the negative, but not the 1. Okay, so if you said negative n minus 2, that's fine too. All right, but just don't forget the negative. All right. Who's excited about the next problem? All right, let's do this. So you're up for a challenge, huh? Okay. All right, who's up for a challenge? This one's challenging. Okay. All right, are we doing anything? Try to get this on paper. Stay a step ahead of me if you can. We're not doing anything to the first expression. 6d minus 5. Nothing's happening there. Okay, so just pull it down. Okay. Now I have to distribute negative 8 times 3/4. So, Halen, hopefully this will help answer your question. Okay. When I multiply a whole number times a fraction. Does everybody agree that negative 8 could be placed over 1? Okay. So what you're doing is you're multiplying your numerators and then you're dividing by the value in your denominator. That's all you're doing. Okay. So I want to see who can get this distributive property right and what you would bring down into step 2. Okay. All right. So just want to give you a minute to try to get something down on paper. Okay. What is this going to be? Negative 8 times 3 over 4d. What's going to be that term once you do that multiplication? All right. Let's see who can get it. Michael, how you feeling back there?
Yeah.
You got it?
I did the 3.5 and minus.
Okay, that's okay. That's all right. Try to get this down. Oh, Abby, did you get the answer? You can just tell me. All right. So what did you get when you multiply negative 8 times 3?
20.
Well, when you did the numerators, you got negative 24. Then negative 24 divided by 4 is what?
6.
Negative 6. Okay. All right. So hold up both hands and shake them if you got it right. Do you know what that means in sign language? It means like, it's like a clap, like, good job type thing. So congratulate yourself. All right. They don't. So like at church, yeah, probably. So like at church, whenever a deaf person gets saved or they make a commitment or whatever, like everybody kind of goes like that so they can see it. So it's kind of cool. All right. So minus 6d. All right. Now what's negative 8 times negative 1? Positive 8. Oh. Anybody see it? What's my additive inverse? 60. Yes. So it's not even in your answer at all. So for those of you who have really been wanting to get an answer, there's your answer. Your D's canceled out. You actually have an answer on this one. All right. Congratulate yourself. Okay. Good job, guys. All right. Good job. Okay. 11:52. We got about 20 minutes left. Yeah. Yeah, we finally have a full day of class for the first time in forever.
What'd you say?
Oh, that reminds me of the movie Frozen. For the first time in forever, you know.
What did you say?
All right, so I'm going to give you guys about 5 minutes to work through. These two problems are not easy, okay? They're challenging, okay? But let's see if you can work together, put your brains together, okay? I'm talking about, the two on the right, yes, okay? See if you can simplify them and get to your answer. We're going to take about 5 minutes to see if you can get to your answer. We'll talk about the word problem and then your optional homework over the weekend. All right, so, okay, 3.5M minus 1.5M plus, who did their trick? Did anybody do the trick?
I know.
Okay, plus 15. Okay, so 2M plus 15. Okay, all right. Flex your muscle if you got it. All right, yes. Big guns, guys. Very good. All right, good job. All right, now when you multiply a fraction, remember you multiply the numerators. 10 over 1. Okay, so 10's your numerator. What's 4 times 10? 40. Divided by 5 is 8W. Okay, now I had a few people do the cross reducing and then say 4 times 2 is 8. That's fine too. Okay, all right, now 4/5 times negative 5. So again, it's the same thing. What's 4 times negative 5? Negative 20. Divided by 5 is negative 4. Killing me. Negative 4. I got 8W because I did 4 times 10 is 40. 40 divided by 5 is 8. Because 4 times, okay, I'm explaining it. 4 times negative 5 is negative 20. Divided by 5 is negative 4. All right, minus 2W minus 18. All right, so now I can combine my like terms. What's 8W minus 2W? All right, 6W. Okay. And what's negative 4 minus 18?
22.
Negative 22. All right, great job, guys. Great job. Awesome. Okay, did you get it? Did you get it? Or if you messed up, do you see where you messed up?
Yeah.
All right, just as important that you learn from your mistakes. All right, so I'm going to be honest with you. I don't love this example, okay? But we're going to go with it. You know, sometimes it's hard to figure out distributive property. Distributive property works here because I have the same measurement repeating, okay? Could I get the same answer if I add them all together? Yep, I could. Okay, so watch this. All right, this top side, okay, look how it compares to the left side. What is the difference between the top side of the pool deck and the left side? It's the +2, okay? Here's why it's +2. Because the top side includes the tile squares in the corner. So like each corner is like one tile square. So that's why it's S +2. It's the same side link here, okay? But they're adding 2 because there's 1 on each end. Does that make sense? All right, so that's where the S +2 comes from. So how many sides are S +2? 2. So if I asked you to write a distributive property expression, you would say 2 times S +2. Okay? Because there's 2 sides. No. There's 2 sides that are S +2. Plus 2 times how many sides are just S? But 2 sides are just plain S. So that's why I multiply 2 times S. Okay? All right. Yes. All right. So now you're going to distribute the 2. That's where the tie-in comes to distributive property. Okay? So you have 2S plus 4 plus 2S. All right. So that's my final answer, right?
No, you can do 2S.
Yeah, you can still combine some more like terms. 4S plus 4. Okay, 4S plus 4. All right, so great job on that, guys. So basically the way optional homework works this time, and I'll make it different, I guess, incentives. Okay, but this incentive this weekend is if you, and we still have 10 minutes left in class. Okay, so if you complete this homework as if it was any other homework assignment that you do, so all your work has to be in your notes, your answers have to be submitted to Big Ideas by 8 a.m. Monday, okay, then whatever grade you earn, so let's say you missed 3 problems on your homework, you would get a 94 in the grade book, and I will hand you a homework pass for doing your optional homework, okay?
Wait, how much if you missed how much?
Well, it's 2 points each. So you have to take the grade that you earned in order to get the homework pass. So you can't say, oh, well, I did it, but I don't want that grade, I want it to be an X. So if you don't do it, it'll be an X in the grade book. If you get an X in the grade book, you don't get a homework pass. Okay? The X does not affect your grade. It's as if the assignment does not exist. Okay? All right. So that's it. And that's it for today's lesson.